Hello, beautiful souls. How are you today? It's June 7th, 2023. I wanted to talk to you today about something that's been my driving force since last year. And so I get questions from time to time. And over the last week, really, it has been kind of gnawing at me that I really need to in the best way possible and the best way that I can share this journey that I've been called on and that I answered the call to be on and kind of explain. So knowledge is power, right? Maybe those who are being judgmental might learn a thing or two and open themselves up to experiences that the divine has for us instead of just being in low vibrational status. So I think that feeling that judgment really reminded me how non-judgmental I am, and that I just really want people to have, you know, the option to make a better choice. If you feel like all your choices are made for you and there's nothing you can do about it, well, that's your prerogative and you're entitled to that opinion, but I don't share that opinion. And I've come to where I am now because of the journey that I've been on. And so I really feel like it's a necessary bridge that I try my very best to convey. So, I do invite you to go back though and watch some of my initial videos, older videos, because I started my YouTube channel a couple months before I had my energy clearing and became activated and started getting downloads from Source Creator. And so you actually see that change, that trajectory of soul evolution. And from day one, the voice inside my head telling me to start the YouTube channel was always Source. It continues to be Source when I get downloads of video content that really needs to be put out to the collective. Sometimes I get downloads that it's content that's really just for my crew, my ground crew. And other times it's like, yeah, we know you've said this before, but we need you to say it again in a different way because there's a whole new group of people that's coming to the point where they are questioning things and they really are looking for a voice like yours to just lay it all out for them. So, I mean, I think that there's something to be said for the personality that I am. I'm very authentic, but I also don't live in this hyper inflated emotional state. I no longer, I used to make my next step based on my emotions. See, that's when the ego is driving you. I don't really let emotion factor into anything anymore. I try that very, very hard not to. Do I have feelings? Absolutely. Do I have moments where I don't know which end is up? Yeah, because I'm human and no one's perfect. But I also know that I have a huge spirit team and a huge guiding presence, and all I have to do is ask, and my help is with me. So, faith journey. That's what I really call what I do. Like the life that I'm in right now, completely immersed, is a faith journey. And how did I get there? Well, I'm going to define what a faith journey is. Faith journey is process of going beyond your boundaries and taking the next evolutionary step. I had no idea what the actual definition of faith journey was. I just knew that I was on a journey with no definite destination, lots of stops along the way, all divinely led. And in order to fully embody the lessons, the experiences, not miss the forest for the trees kind of a thing, it is all in faith. It is all in faith. So again, how did I get here? So last year was my 20 something year in healthcare. Not only that, as a nurse, I had started out as a medic in the Army in 91. So really 30 some odd years. I have seen multiple health systems, multiple different states, multiple different, corporations, whatever. Over time, and I was always in critical care. At times, I would take a break and do travel nursing and still be in critical care, but not at a specific place all the time. Anyway, as I grew as a human being, as I evolved through my own karmic relationships and learning the lessons that those karmic relationships were put in my path to teach me, I knew that I was evolving out of my profession. But I didn't want to admit that. I didn't want to, because what else was I going to do? What else was I going to be? Because I had fully bought into the label that I'm a nurse. That's what I do. That's who I am. Like there wasn't much else that comprised me in my mind, even besides my profession. And to know that I no longer really aligned in the theories and the practices and the nonsense really that is Western healthcare was soul shocking. Like I really felt trapped because I was not honoring my soul intentions, but I also needed to survive. And I didn't know how else to do that. I had only ever done healthcare. I had only ever wanted to be a part of healing the collective, healing my brothers and sisters. So as I began to problem solve, I would say, my options that laid before me, I really felt, again, trapped, more trapped than before I really started laying out the pros and the cons and, trying to logically figure out a way that my soul did not feel ripped to shreds and provide a living. And I know that I'm not the only one. I know that there are many, many people that are going through that same discussion right now. So again, if this resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, just I just really want to shed some light on the earthly being that I am right now compared to the earthly being that I started out on this journey. So in September of 2022, I was completely cleared of all my negative distortions, negative blockages, all that. And then at the time, I had been trying to meditate for seriously for about a year. And I had tried a lot of different tricks, and I really, really felt my energy literally get to a certain point, and it was just like capped off, like a PVC cap on a pipe. And I could feel it like pushing against something, keeping my energy down. And I had a card reading by someone who was like, yeah, you probably have some blockages and you'll have to work on releasing them and blah, 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 which I did. Well, it wasn't really getting much effect, much positive effect. I didn't see much change and trying the tricks to kind of open up those blockages. I was about 65 pounds heavier than I am now, than my current weight. And I was on a lot of medication for high blood pressure. My blood pressure is actually not well controlled. It was a new onset after having the C word a couple of times. allegedly. And but also being in it, working in healthcare and submerged, always having to wear a mask to be in the hospital, to be in a facility of any kind. So I knew that I had some health issues that I was also hoping to find a better treatment for. I really didn't want to take a handful of pills every day. And that's where I found myself. And I was also in a very dark place, like mentally, emotionally, because what I was expected to do and called to do at work was not in alignment with my soul at all. And the more I tried to make sense out of it, the more I couldn't. And the more I kept having emotional effects of that inner turmoil. So I was crying at lunch. I was crying sometimes between patients. I was crying before I went into work and felt like Mel Gibson screaming freedom, leaving work every day. So I knew that a lot of things needed to change for me. Like it wasn't one thing. And everything pushed me to the point of saying, yes, absolutely. Let's clear out all this negative energy. Let's get rid of all these distortions. I don't even know what distortions are, but let's do it. So I took that leap of faith. That was the very first leap of faith. And I knew that it was really strongly guided because I didn't think about it much. That decision came from deep down. Like, absolutely, yes, 100%, we're doing this. This is absolutely what you need. So I started within 24 hours, I'd say, really getting down low. That energy was no longer blocked. My frequency was tripling every day or so. And so your energetic frequency is your power. And that is not limited unless people, places, and things put limits, blockages, and distortions in your energy body. We're not meant to be limited. We're not meant to be capped off. We're not meant to be metered and only given a certain amount of energy and power. We're meant to flow. We're meant to be free. We're meant to be able to pull in messages from our spirit team and live in a higher frequency to be able to have that communication. Well, that's exactly why all of us that grew up here in this realm, in this dimension, suffer so much, because it's been a part of the plan to derail us from figuring out who we are, what our purpose is, and harnessing our power and taking it back. So I quickly started to download lots and lots of things that I could confirm with other people, things that I could confirm with myself, things that totally resonated, things that completely was off the wall, like me, that kind of stuff. It was everything. It was the rainbow. And then I realized, okay, well, shit, now what? Because now I really can't go back to work. So I knew my days were numbered with the job, because on a soul level, I just couldn't keep doing it. I had to really come to terms with the fact that I was betraying what my soul was intended to do. My earthly purpose was not to do what I was actually doing in that moment. But in doing that and turning my back on that meant no paycheck, no benefits, the inability to pay for my bills. Those are big things. Those are big things initially. So another byproduct of ascension is that we become minimalist, because you realize that the attachment to the material is just that. It's attachment to something that makes us feel better artificially from the exterior, and it doesn't do anything for the interior. So when you ascend, when your frequency rises and you start to evolve as a soul, you realize that the worth of what and who you are, it comes from within. It has absolutely nothing to do with what you have as far as a home, a vehicle, a job, or money in the bank. That really, really, really makes things harder, because you want that in other people, places, and things. Like I can't wait for the day, actually, because it's coming, where people, souls, beings are given goods and services based on their quality of their soul and what they offer humanity. And someone may, I like the farming analogy best. So some may grow vegetables, and others may be beekeepers, and others may be where they focus on building and creating things like pottery or whatever. So out of those three people, they can help each other get what they need to survive, and along with others. I'm just saying, that's an example where no one's being taken advantage of. You don't have the capability, the knowledge, the skill to be a master pottery maker, but you grow these amazing, wonderfully healthy vegetables. And the person that spends all their time mastering their craft of pottery doesn't have a vegetable garden. And so there's an exchange there. It's an energy exchange. That is what the world is going to go to. But for right now, we're still in the freaking matrix where everything costs way too much. And most people are working 1, 2, sometimes 3 jobs, and they still cannot make ends meet. And that is not how we were meant to live our life. So when I realized that I was not doing my soul any favors, and in not doing my soul favors, I was handicapping my mission, prolonging the goodness of that, I knew I had to pivot. And I had to do that in 100% faith. Faith, a little bit of courage, but a lot of faith, because it's the faith that drives things. It's the faith that gives you the strength to take the step. It's faith that opens up the wisdom. It's the faith because you have faith in your ascendant masters, your spirit team, your angels, your archangels that are going to give you guidance, because hello, we do not know what we need to know. We have been taught a lot of lies. And now that we're discovering the truth, we're like sponges. You can't learn enough, right? But you still don't know what you need to know in this now moment for the most part. You've got to have that guidance, and that all comes with faith. If you're asking a question and you have no faith in the answer, no faith in the being giving you the answers, you're wasting your time, and you're wasting their time, and you're wasting your energy, because you're judging, and you're listening to your ego, and you're listening to your mind talk yourself out of the magic and the miracle that is divine timing and divine ways. So I left everything behind. I sold what I could. Well, my intention was to sell what I could. This is actually a great story. And so I had been off of Facebook for a couple of years at this point. And I went back on the marketplace so I could put things there to liquidate things from my home. And so I had intentions of making a little change to help my cause. And I sold a TV to a gentleman. And then the next person that came was this beautiful South African woman with her little baby and her husband. And she introduced herself as Delphine. Now, my main soul imprint, and I am the incarnation of Lord Delphinus. That's why you see Lord Delphinus by name. That is a soul life that I had many, many, many years ago. And so I had never, ever met anyone named Delphine. And when she walked in and said that, I got cold chills, and I knew that any and everything that they wanted, they could have. They could offer me whatever they wanted for it. That was exactly what was supposed to happen. And so they ended up coming back a couple of days later with a U-Haul and essentially moved every bit of stuff that I had out of the house. And they paid me like $150 because I said, just pay me what you can pay me, and that's it. That's fine. Because this is not about money. This is an energy exchange with someone who was showing me in her name, in her presence, that I was taking the right steps. And that is invaluable. And so I knew that in that action, I would be rewarded for my faith. So the very next day, I set out on my journey. My first stop on my faith journey was a place I did not want to go. My hometown in Louisiana. And I didn't want to go there because it was always felt oppressive to me. I did not and do not have great family members. I had some awesome friends that basically adopted me like family, but not blood. And there's a lot about that area that I have evolved from and have for a very, very long time. And so culturally, politics, like there's just a lot there that I don't give my energy to. But source says you got to go there. You'll know why when you get there. You got to go there. So things were downloaded to me, and I took them all to heart, and I took them all very seriously. And there were some things I didn't want to do that I did. And all of this was for my own soul growth. It all really ripped the scabs off of some of those things that I mentioned before, like the reasons. Okay. So this was the shadow work that had it been left up to me, I would not have gone there. I'd have been like, yeah, I'm done with that. But I really wasn't. There were some things that I needed to discover in a different context. And it wasn't going to happen unless I caused friction. Okay. So I followed my guidance and I did exactly what I was asked to do. And the outcome was exactly what it was supposed to be. And there were lots of, descend to uscend. There were lots of moments on the valley floor crying, begging for another assignment. But my work there was not done. Ultimately, I ended up being in Louisiana a total September to March, so 6 months. I had one excursion during that time where I was sent to Georgia and Florida. And I was following guidance. And it's not just my guidance. Let me just say that too. So like big things like that come in, and I always confirm with other people and that are also clear, that have a clear conduit of communication with Source Creator. So these were all confirmed journeys that I was supposed to make. So I ended up at this beautiful community in the Georgia Hills. And then I ended up in Savannah, clearing lots of trauma to the land and releasing trapped souls and things like that. And that was the first time I had been called to do that. And it was extremely powerful. And I literally 100% faith. I had never done anything like that before. And then I was called to go down South Florida. And that was huge. So I will spare the details, but needless to say, I ended up with some very intense conversations, and then was given some very key introductions to very important people, and then asked to leave. So I did. And I thought, okay, great, I did it. Now what? Like, can I go to Costa Rica now? Because Costa Rica is where the mission really starts, like that phase, of the active phase of the mission starts in Costa Rica. And the answer was no, go back to Louisiana. And I was so sad. Not because of, I stayed with my childhood best friend. She's amazing. I have absolutely zero complaints about any of that. It wasn't that. I don't want it to be misconstrued as that. I just want it to keep going forward. And I felt like going to Louisiana was like going back. So I went back for another 3 months. And then it came that I needed to leave. It was time to go. So then I thought my plan was to go back to Georgia and Florida and like South Carolina, North Carolina, like that area. And I headed out and it came in like a thunderbolt. You're going to Tennessee. You're going to Nashville. And I was like, okay, like, why? It's going to be, it will be disclosed as you travel. And it was. I had a crew member there. We met up. We did a lot of work in Nashville. I have a video that I'll link in the description box of this video that it was the first time I actually was called to go clear a cemetery. And that was like power and weight lifted and light shining in areas that were felt dark, and all of a sudden light. So amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. So thankful that I listened, so appreciative, so grateful for that opportunity. I thought, okay, great. Now I'm done in Tennessee. Now I get to go. No, you cannot go to Georgia. So I started listing off states. And about 20 states in, I get a yes to Nebraska. Nebraska. Well, one of the crew members at the time we had discovered that we had my soul and his soul were soul siblings. And there was a long lineage of many lives together and that kind of stuff. And so that was the only person I knew in Nebraska. And so I asked them, yes, you're supposed to go, and your presence there is going to cause a lot of needed change and discussion, and it's not going to be comfortable. And it's going to be exactly what it needs to be, but it's not going to be comfortable. And I thought, okay, this is that faith walk, right? Do I want to go to a place I've never been before, into like hostile territory where I know my presence is going to be a shitstorm? No. But I knew on the other end, it was for a greater purpose, and it wasn't about me. It involved me. My energy and my presence was a catalyst for change, but it was more about assisting others to get to where they needed to be. So that one person had a big family, has a big family, and had a lot of dynamics going on. And so anyway, I was there for a couple of weeks, and then it came through that I was going to Texas. Now, I left Texas last year before I went to Louisiana. So I'm like, really? Well, I was going to a part of Texas I had never considered going to before. And I'm so happy I was called there, because it ended up being a lot of peaceful moments and inspirational moments, and just things that I really enjoyed, like low humidity and mountains. And so, yeah, I was in El Paso. And a lot of things came through at that time, a lot of things that I needed to do at that time. And that being there opened me up to the next places that we were called to go. And it was actually, it morphed from me to other people in the crew getting same downloaded messages and guidance. Hey, put this out there and see who else resonates with this. And so it ended up being a group of us that went to Sedona area and south rim of the Grand Canyon. And there's a video about that too. I'll link in the description box. That was beautiful. That was nothing has been ugly, I'll say. And I overuse the same words, and I apologize, but our vocabulary is subpar to the experiences that we have in a spiritual form. And that area is very, very rich in off-worlder activity. There are a lot of underground activities that are not necessarily nefarious, and things flying overhead. Lots of it caught over time on video, whatnot. So anyway, we were hopeful. We like really wanted to see, things, and we did. We had ships that were there during our Ascended Master ceremony that we had, where we did a burnt offering of food for the goddesses and warriors that helped fight the battle of good versus evil, the battle of light versus dark. And so we had ships that were definitely there, and we could feel them, but we also saw them. And then went to the South Rim of the Grand Canyon and did a lot of grid work there, and a lot of releasing trapped souls and healing trauma of the land, the indigenous trauma, the settler trauma, the gold rush trauma, the oppressive era stuff. So thousands and thousands of souls were released from the Grand Canyon. And so I know now that receiving messages, it's in how you perceive it, right? And so some people get messages and they're like, oh, that's cool. And they just tuck it away. And they just go on about their matrix lives, and they go, yeah, that's neat, whatever. And then there's people like me that get these messages and we're like, holy shit, it's what I've been asking for my whole life. Like, this is my purpose. This is what makes sense. This is what resonates. And so as my journey began last year, it morphs, and I never make plans for myself, like hard and fast plans, because I know that energetically downloads come through depending on where I am and what needs to be done. And I just open myself up to that. So I have relinquished control over the day-to-day decisions of my life, in a sense, because I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. If I get the strong download, the strong energetic push that I need to leave and go somewhere else, that's what I do. I confirm it with other people. I don't just like get it once and like head on down the road, but I do get a very good sense of where I'm supposed to be going. And then as soon as I open the door and accept that, other stuff starts coming through. Like, okay, good. You accepted that you needed to go here. Now let's tell you why. Like, let's show you the clues. And we start putting that together with our intuition, and other people will start getting stuff like, I'm getting, when you go here, you're going to meet up with so-and-so, or you're going to see so-and-so, or you're going to need to go to this place, or whatever. That's just organically how it has evolved. So faith is what allows the spiritual growth. And we know that if you stay in a very comfortable existence, then you do all the same things every single day of the week and all the same things on the weekends, and you don't deviate from that plan, and you don't deviate from that path, and you're very I don't want to say grounded, because I think you're very accustomed and very comfortable to the life that you lead, and there are no surprises. There's no friction, right? Because everyone knows where you're going to be on Friday, and everyone knows where you're going to be on Sunday. Everyone knows where you're going to be on Tuesday, and they know what to expect from you, because you're doing the same things every single day, all the time. So growth comes from friction. Transmutation of energy, and we are energy bodies, comes through friction. You have to heat things up. You have to heat an element up to change what you're looking at, what you're dealing with. So for me, I've been dealing with friction as a catalyst to change since last year, and embracing it, calling it in as a fact, calling it in. Because I now see that no matter what slippery slope that I'm walking on, there's a rainbow at the other end. Always some goodness that comes from whatever, journey I'm sent down. I've always been taken care of. I've always been protected. I've always been blessed. So when you are called to leave the comforts of the matrix, like I was, you have to believe 100% that you're going to be provided for by Source Creator. Now, it's 11:11. I raise my hand and say, there was a time in my life where I said, I've never seen God come down here and pay my bills. And I'm so sorry I ever said that. But that was my immature ego self talking. Now, I have not had, like I said in the beginning, I have not had a quote unquote job or a paycheck since last year. Am I destitute? No, I am not. Do I know exactly where my blessings come from? No, I don't. And nor do I need to know. Like, I know that I am doing energy clearing and that is a calling, and that creates a small amount of revenue for me to live. Outside of that, I do every now and again, I'll do some card readings in my Telegram groups. I don't make a dime off of YouTube. I don't have followers, and I don't do all of this stuff. Like, I literally put information out there because Source is saying, put this information out there for the collective. Those with ears to hear and eyes to see will find it. That is my reason for doing this. So I 100% know, I don't know how, but I do know that Source Creator will always take care of me. I have a spirit team that watches out for me. I have crafts that travel with me, protect me, seen them, have them on photo and video. And I'm not fearful of that because I accept that I have evolved into a different being, really. I'm still in my earthly body, but my ego is under control. My soul is evolving. I am learning the lessons. I am doing the work, not shying away from the hard days. And I'm being rewarded for that. That is really the motivation for the faith journey. So when we have prayers that we send up, because we're self-righteous and pompous as a society, we think, many people, that you can send up a prayer and it's going to come back down to you exactly like you requested it, exactly how you envisioned it. And if it doesn't, well, then that's not your answered prayer. So when I had been asking for decades, show me my purpose, use me for God's will. If I am on a path that is not my best good, please show me the path I need to be on and I will take it, whatever that looks like. That was my prayer for decades. So all of a sudden, decades, my prayers are answered, and I'm shown that I will be provided for. And it is in my best good to turn around and leave my career and leave my security of a home and all the things that we check off on the list of, am I successful? And so that in itself caused people to have judgment against me. Like, where's all your stuff? This is all you have? You know, that kind of thing. And it just increased my resolve, you see, because I don't view myself as what I put in my car. And I don't view myself as what I have in my bank account, which is not much, honestly, but it's enough. And I'm okay with that because I'm not a materialistic person. I don't need a bunch of stuff. Okay. There's some things I need, and most of it has nothing to do with stuff. And so we don't get to pick and choose how our blessings come to us. ask for a blessing, and then it falls in your lap. The choice you have is this my moment to do what's in the best interest of my soul? Or am I going to listen to my ego and say, this isn't good enough? This isn't what I meant. This isn't a good time for me. Oh, this is just for me. What about everybody else? See, those are all shadows you have to work through, because your soul evolution is based on your path, your choices, your guidance, your energy. So if you are asking for a prayer so that it benefits other people, but you're not willing to do any concessions yourself, what are you actually asking for? That's just fake. That's a show. That's not who you really are. And that's not your actual purpose. So faith, to take a step in your faith, walk in your faith, not just talk about it, walk in your faith. Ask for the guidance to show you the way, the step, the direction, and then have the faith to take it. That's why I say it's a little bit of courage and a whole lot of faith. A whole lot of faith. And you call in your support team, right? So when you show up and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here in good spirit. Like, I was guided to be here. I am open to the lessons. I am open to the messages. I am open to helping or clearing or whatever it is. You're rewarded. It is that you are, number one, making a decision in your highest and best good. You're also making a decision in service to others. You're sacrificing maybe your own fear or your own inadequacies or whatever, because that stuff is fake, first of all. You're powerful. And so you having the faith to maybe do something for others is the door that once you walk through that and you see how much goodness comes from that one act, then that increases your esteem, and that increases your power, and that increases your confidence in you and your ability and the being that you are, without any external anything. And that is really the lesson. That's the lesson, that the stuff that held you back before was literally just there to hold you back. It was never because you couldn't do it. It was always to keep you from figuring out who you are, what your purpose is, and having the faith to take that step. So faith comes, I think that trust is a matrix term, because people say, oh, trust is earned and this and that, whatever. But that's an accountability. Like, that's keeping score. And that to me feels very 3D, like, because I've had people in my life completely blow up the trust. But to have faith in the fact that they can evolve like I did, and that they can also rise to the challenge that Source Creator gives them, that's the test. Not trust, faith. So our frequency is what attracts people to us. If you're watching this video, we have a shared frequency. I can almost guarantee it. People that don't share the frequency, the higher frequencies, can't really hear this message, nor will they ever find it. It's not for them. That's okay. Not for everyone. The ending is not for everyone. I'm sure you've heard that a time or two. You have to be able to have faith in your intuition. Our intuition is our key to discernment. Discernment is a skill. In order to practice that skill, you have to have faith. Faith is what opens up your intuition. It's what allows the soul to give you a no in your body when you are about to do something you should not be doing, that is not in your highest and best good. And to give you a yes when you are encountering something that is energetically really, really good for you. And people have that all the time. but sorry, my nose itches. They have that all the time, but they ignore it. They discount it and they talk themselves out of the magic because the mind doesn't want you to realize that you really have a really good internal GPS in your gut, because your gut is going to steer you away from your ego choices, and your mind is all about your ego choices. So we have a spirit team. I have videos about our spirit team: angels, archangels, the angelic realm, the ascended masters, dragons, elementals, our off-worlder, space lineages. We have crews. We have all that kind of stuff. So if you're not a starseed, you may not have space lineage, but you still have a team. All of us are born with a fire dragon. All of us are born with a guardian angel, and all of those guardian angels have a hierarchy of supervisory angels, archangels. So right there, you have a team of 4 very powerful beings that are always there, just waiting on you to call them in. Did you know that? I sure as hell didn't. Raised Catholic, didn't know any of that stuff. They want you to know what they want you to know, not the truth. So again, byproduct of this culture, we think we're out there on an island. We think we're the only ones doing anything. And if we don't do it, it's not going to get done, because that's been our world. That's been our existence. That was my existence. Now I know, and I have a very hard time breaking the habit of not asking. I'm getting better. I ask my spirit team for assistance. I call them in. They are very Johnny on the spot. They are right there because they're with me all the time. And all I have to do is say, I need help with blah, blah, blah. I don't even need to know who to call on. They know, and they know more than I do. And they are willing to help guide as long as I am willing to open myself up to guidance and to listen and to have the intuition to feel. So you have angels, you have archangels, you have ascendant masters, you have source creator and source creatrix, which is Mother Sophia. You have dragons, elementals, fairies. They're amazing. Off-worlder guides, crews, all 100% faithful, celestial, higher consciousness beings. And that's where you have to really do the work. You have to understand it's not just us, not just the people living on this planet. We are a small piece of a microcosm of the universe that is full of all sorts of beings. So if you feel stuck or blocked, if you've been trying to meditate, if you've been trying to connect and you feel like you get to a certain point and then it's just darkness, you have blockages, and we can help with that. There's going to be a link in the description box for quantum energy transformation, QET. That's the sessions that I do. I was taught to do them by Mother Sophia and Kuan Yin. And it clears out all the negative distortions, the entities, the implants, the blockages, removes curses, hexes, ancestral curses, all sorts of stuff. Get you cleared up so that you can navigate your own journey and find the rainbow. If you feel like you're a starseed and you don't know who or where, what, come and join us in Healing Disclosures or QET. Both those links are going to be in the description box. We can help you figure that out. And if you don't have a clue which end is up, you fit right in. Because when you're coming out of the chaos that is the life that we have been living, you have to find your footing, right? You have to find the ground that's stable, not the rocky slope. And when you do find that, you have to figure out who you are. I think that's key. Once you know who and what you are and your purpose, that becomes your totem that keeps you upright. So, like I said before, frequency is what attracts frequency. Like frequency attracts like frequency. If you have stuck with me through this video to this point, we have a shared frequency, I feel certain. But even if we don't, and you just have questions, I welcome you to come into Healing Disclosures on Telegram. Telegram is a secure site. It is really run by the military. And a lot of very good information gets put out on Telegram because it's allowed to be. I want you to think about that. I use this platform and Rumble for video, just because it's what's available. But for real communication, getting down to the nitty gritty of things, all that really takes place in Telegram. So if you don't have one, I recommend getting it. Even if you only have a couple of channels like healing disclosures and quantum energy transformation, that's really all you need. No, I'm just kidding. But we can help. We can help you figure out which end is up, right? So you can stop feeling like an untethered balloon, being bounced around, pushed around by everybody's whim of what they think is right for you. And then you get to start figuring out what's right for you because you get to know who you really are. We pull away the veil. We strip away all the labels and titles and things that people may have thrown at you because they didn't know what to do with you because you're a big energy. And we welcome that. We embrace that. So other places that you may be trying to get guidance or fit in or whatever, they sometimes are very rigid in what you can talk about, right? Because they don't want that conversation to go off the rails. They want to keep it very, very controlled. The only two things that you can't talk about in our groups are fear porn and false light. You have to have a soul and you have to be in alignment to source creator to even be admitted in. So if you have tried repeatedly and you have been booted, you have some work to do. And everyone else, I welcome you. Healing Disclosures on Telegram, Quantum Energy Transformation on Telegram, and be accepting to the fact that there are many, many miracles just waiting for you to accept. It has absolutely nothing to do with Matrix. It has all to do with your soul and your communication and your willingness to communicate with your spirit team. Because we are on a very important mission for New Earth. We will help the collective learn what 5D community is like, unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, for the greater good, in service to others. That is exactly where we're going. We want nothing to do with where we've come from. So I look forward to seeing you in our group, and I hope you have a great day.